The sun rises on a young nation. The year was 1853. The wars for independence were over, and the United States was in a period of exploration and growth. Just 50 years earlier, the Louisiana Purchase was made by then-President Thomas Jefferson for a price of 3 cents per acre. This purchase opened up almost 1/3 of the nation for new exploration and settlement. The West was open. Soon tales of adventures and easy riches reached the East. Pioneers and prospectors alike soon followed the footsteps of Lewis and Clark and headed west. One of those early pioneers from the East was William Harmon.
William Harmon, the founder of Waverly, immigrated from Maine and to Independence area, and at that time that town was already being settled, and so he was looking for a place to settle and create a little town. And he traveled into Bremer County, saw the natural fall in the river that was here. There was a rock, kind of a rock natural dam, and decided that would be a good place for his sawmill and grist mill, and that would be what was needed to create the town. So he went back and had it platted, and then the following spring moved here with some of his relatives. He wanted to create a town, create jobs, bring families here, give people a place to live. He was very concerned that the town remain a good place to live and not become what we kind of tend to think of as one of the western towns with the brawls, etc. He was quite firm on that.
What began as a wild landscape dotted with cabins officially became the town of Waverly, and in 1853, the county seat of Bremer County.
He really accomplished a huge amount, and I think kind of set in place the type of community we have and the type of spirited citizens we have.
As Waverly grew from a few settlers to a thriving town, the nation changed as well. In 1861, the Southern Confederacy declared its independence from the United States, and the Civil War began. In Waverly, citizens enlisted to support the effort of their country. To help the war effort in any way he could, William Harmon offered each volunteer a town lot, and, if married, an additional lot for his wife.
That was quite a deal because money was very, very scarce, actual cash. So it was a way of encouraging both enrollment and helping the town to grow too.
The town did grow. Homes made of wood and brick replaced those of tent and tarp, and businesses began to sprout up everywhere.
It was almost like somebody had written a script for the town needs to do this, and now we've got that, we need to move on to this, and et cetera, just step by step. Within 10 years, the town had actually turned into a mini metropolis.
William Patterson Harmon, founder of Waverly, died on December 8, 1864, just days after the realization of his dream of a railroad in Waverly. Throughout his 10 years in Waverly, Harmon was responsible for many things, but none more important than the creation of a legacy of giving and responsibility that still exists in Waverly today. His daughter, Jeannie Harmon Case.
When William Patterson Harmon passed away, Waverly lost the best friend and helper it ever had.
A legacy had begun, and as one century turned into another, time brought with it many changes. The telegraph and telephone revolutionized communication, and the automobile and airplane replaced the horse and buggy. Waverly took on the look of a modern-day town, complete with electrical power, running water, and paved roads. What didn't change was the legacy of entrepreneurship and giving that William Harmon had established years before. Continuing Harmon's legacy was an entrepreneur by the name of Abraham Slimmer. Slimmer made his fortune in real estate and cattle investments. Upon arriving in Waverly in 1878, Slimmer built for himself and his bride-to-be a large house. But after a short visit, his prospective wife decided to go back home. With no family to fill it, Slimmer donated the house to the town for use as a hospital. In 1904, St. Joseph Mercy Hospital opened and has served the Waverly community ever since. That same year, it became apparent the city needed to do something about its power problem. Once again, Waverly citizens gave of themselves for the betterment of the community. 4 local newspapermen, W.H. Tyrrell, C.W. Miller, G.A. Grossman, and J.F. Grayway, made it possible for the city to buy the power plant. At the time, it was owned by the Healy Brothers Company. The brothers held a monopoly on Waverly's power and also required the city to pay for any repairs. City leaders decided it was in the best interest of Waverly to purchase the plant, but came up short $8,000 in raising the money for purchase. The 4 newspapermen purchased the remaining portion of the plant and gave the city the option of buying it back when funds were available.
The original gain for the original investors in the power plant was not personal. It was done out of an interest to serve the community. If you look at that original investment of $13,500, transfers are now made annually by Waverly Light and Power to the city in excess of $700,000.
The power plant, purchased in 1904 for $13,500, is now valued at over $40 million. As the years passed, individuals continued to step up and take responsibility for the future of Waverly. Some gave of their time, some gave their money, and others gave their lives. In 1911, when Dr. W.A. Rolfe and others in the medical community saw the need of those who could not afford health care, they answered the call.
The local doctors would kind of save up patients who couldn't afford surgery. Back in those days, without any insurance, there was a lot of free medical care given.
The Dr. Rolfe birthday clinics lasted from 1911 until 1931 and attracted doctors from all over the United States. When the nation went to war, generation after generation of Waverly residents gave of themselves and answered the call.
Some of our classmates left as freshmen. They volunteered and joined Navy, joined Army, what have you. And then the nucleus of the rest of us that passed our physicals went in June of '43.
When Wartburg College needed more land to become accredited and stay in town, Waverly citizens, led by Ed Engelbrecht, A.H. Neuwarner, and Ed Nolting, answered the call.
In 45, 46, there was a community-wide campaign undertaken to raise $100,000, the money to be used for the purpose of expanding the campus from the then 13 acres to something like 40 acres. These people did everything they possibly could to raise those funds, to make the commitment.
Today, the legacy of giving that began more than 150 years ago is still growing strong. Thanks to individuals in the community who foresaw the needs of the future and prepared for them, Waverly residents have made their town a special place for all who call it home.
When you have a state-of-the-art library facility, when you have a great complex for children to play at, and you see all new playgrounds going up all around the community now with the new soccer fields, the rail trail. I mean, those are really assets to the community. They're going to draw other people here to the community so that we can keep growing and keep building on that.
Today, everyone has the opportunity to be a part of the legacy of giving that is Waverly.
The Waverly Life Fund is a vehicle that gives each and every one of us an opportunity to give back to a community which has given us individually so much. It's a vehicle that's going to allow everyone who calls Waverly home, give all of them an opportunity to return something back to Waverly to make sure and ensure that it stays Waverly well into the future.
There's probably 1 million small towns across America, and what makes Waverly different, I think, are the people, the individuals that make up Waverly.
And I believe in Waverly. I donate my money in Waverly. I think the schools, the people, the government, the whole function that makes Waverly, you just can't name 2 or 3 or 4 things. It's much bigger than that.
The community just has a very strong track record of project after project, whether it's to do with the Bartles Retirement Center or the Bremwood Lutheran Home, or like the child care project that's in the works now, of just stepping forward and doing the right thing.
We take care of each other and see to each other's needs, wants, come together in times of trouble and in times of great joy. It's wonderful being embraced in the small town atmosphere.
We have a community that's vibrant, we have industry, and I think the important part is Wartburg College. The town and the college are just inseparable, and it makes it just a great place to live.
Probably what makes Waverly the most special to me are the people that are here. Raising our children over the years, your neighbors, your friends, everybody cares. I guess that's the big thing.
You can become acquainted with the people in the faculties, in the teachers in our schools, in our churches. You can get acquainted with people. Waverly's been so good to us.
Thanks to the unselfish giving of those in the past, residents enjoy a quality of life few towns share. Today, your help is critically needed, both financially and through acts of service, to keep Waverly a vibrant and growing community and continue the legacy of giving that makes Waverly home.
Waverly is simply on loan to us from our children, which it was on loan to our parents from us. We need to maintain the community for the future generations of people that call Waverly home. It's our obligation. It's not just our honor, but it's our obligation to return this community back to the rightful owners, those of the future, better than we received it.